I'm back, and I'm here to talk to you guys about my afternoon and how the less control you need to feel, the more in control you are and the more control you have over your circumstances. So, for the past week or so, I've been noticing that the arm of one of the arms of my glasses was kind of loose, and I went out to the store and I bought a glasses repairing kit to try to fix it, and I tried to fix it and it was just frustrating, and I was using like the little Phillips head screwdriver or whatever. And eventually I was realizing, okay, I'm scratching up the metal hinge. I better just stop. And this morning I was going to go with a friend to a nearby town that once I was thinking about like what stores we were going to look into or like where we were going to walk, I realized that there was a glasses store or an optician, I guess. And so then I decided, okay, I'm going to go there because I remember that in the past, my aunt had told me that they'll adjust your glasses for free at most places. And I'd done it once or twice before because I was wearing contacts for a really long time. And I still do wear them, but I just find that I take naps now. So it's kind of, I've kept falling asleep with them and I was like, this is not safe. Anyway, so I went to the optician and I had to spend 10 minutes without being able to see much of anything in the store. And I'd never been to the store before. And there were people like talking to each other who like knew each other. And of course, it's always like a little nerve-wracking being without your glasses if you can't really see great. And within 5 minutes, the optician came back and he gave me my glasses. And it was funny because when I went in, I was like, "Hey, do you think you could adjust these for me, please? I tried to do it myself, but I just don't know if that was a great idea." And he was like, "No, don't do that." It's like, please don't do that again. Uh, and so now my glasses are not putting pressure on my nose. They're not like, sort of tilted and weird looking. And I just was like kicking myself. I was like, why didn't I just do this last week when I first noticed it instead of going out and spending money to try to fix them myself and spending time? And, at the end of the day, like, yes, I did have to give up control of my vision basically to another person for a few minutes, but the end result was so much better than what I would have achieved on my own. And sometimes, I know people in my own life who are kind of unwilling to accept help, right? Like we all know someone like that, I'm sure. And this could be applied to addictions, definitely. Um, but the more willing you are to release the idea that you are in control of everything around you all the time, and that if you're not, something bad is going to happen, the more control you actually have over your impulses and over the environment around you, and the more of a chance you have to actually make an impact on the way that things are. And I think there are only two basic human emotions, love and fear. And when we're operating from fear, it's hard to see the love all around us, right? And, you've all heard that whole adage, hurt people, but it's true. The more you're operating from a place of fear, the more you're perpetuating that emotion and that mode of existence in the world. And this is getting a little nerdy, but another example could be the Titanic. They recently discovered that um, there were several, like tiny, tiny little holes in addition to a long gash along the side of the Titanic in six compartments that caused it to sink. So it was called the unsinkable ship. And it was, the way the engineers set it up was that if there were four compartments flooded, that the ship could stay afloat. And what happened was obviously six compartments flooded, as I said. And the reason for this was because the captain, no, actually, I think the first mate gave the order to turn the ship to try to avoid the iceberg, but it was already too late. And had they just crashed right into the iceberg, only the first, I think one or two, I'm not sure, but I'd have to go check the documentaries on Disney Plus. I can link it in the description. But anyway, if they had just gone headfirst into the iceberg, some of the crew members would have perished. I don't know if they had enough time to get out of those compartments yet, which is, would be very sad. They did sign up for that job and presumably signed liability waivers at the time, but it would have only been like 200, 300 people. And a great number of people died. More than that, I think it was like 1,700 people perished in the Titanic sinking. And yeah, like sometimes the best thing to do is nothing and just let things run their course and do damage control. And sometimes trying to, for example, like steering a car in the case of hydroplaning. Um, I was in a hydroplaning accident once. I was the passenger. But what you're supposed to do when you're hydroplaning, and of course I've learned this through, other friends hydroplaning later on in New England rather than in California, and they knew how to handle that. But anyway, so the way to actually handle it, so that it doesn't turn into a crash, is not to press the brakes and to gradually let your foot off the gas and to either turn into the direction you're hydroplaning until your tire gets traction and grip on the road. I don't know, I forgot the word for road. But the way is to do the opposite of what you think in the moment to do. Like if you're panicking, right? If you're panicking in an emergency situation, your first instinct is often to do the exact thing that you shouldn't do, is what I'm trying to say. So the less fear you have, the more control you have, which is feels counterintuitive to like the lizard brain inside of us, but it's the truth. And the more you can train yourself to breathe deeply and stay calm in stressful situations, bit by bit, the more peaceful your life will feel. Or at least that's my experience. So I hope this helps somebody, and I hope you have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are.